if you have two outputs with their
Uh-huh.
own values,
Uh-huh.
what how do you get all how do you, to you what is get all value, like what is the result of that? It's
It's a value. Result of
one
that is a
value that
value.
is an
On
addition of the two values of the outputs, right?
No, it's not. That's where I disagree.
Yeah, so and this is important because I don't understand why you disagree, but I know you're smart, and so I'm just missing something. So
Okay, so when you say adding values, uh, so the value will be like, say there is some ADA doesn't have a policy ID, so policy ID will be blank, and amount will be 5 ADA in one value. Okay,
yeah,
and there will also be other sections because there could be other assets there, like say policy ID for some random token is X and the value is 10,000, and in the other one there will be ADA and some other random token. So you cannot like just add values.
I agree with that.
That's
They're
yeah, that's
different
agreed.
things. What you could add is the same policy IDs together. Like you could add Lovelace together with that. But this function, like the return of this function is really where I'm talking about, because this function does return us something, and it
A
is
value.
either the addition, like I'm talking about, or it's not. It's some list of objects that are still separated, and
It
maybe
is
even
so the reason I say this is it cannot be a list. It only gives one value because in the
Yeah.
outputs to a specific address, there will only be one output object that is going to a specific address. There will not be multiple output objects going to the same address.
yeah, yeah, it could. You could totally do that.
Are you sure about that? Because I feel like that's not
Oh.
possible. Um, so
I'm trying to think. Maybe I haven't actually done that. Um, two outputs.
going to the same address, I don't know if it's possible.
Yeah,
How
no,
do you figure
yes,
this
I
out?
do that. I do that. I've done that. I'm 95%
Can you like
sure.
quickly show how that?
Oh, it's in double spent. Right, because let me look.
Yeah, take some time to track it
So
down.
in my head, like the reason I say there cannot be multiple outputs to the same address is because just think of it like this, right? The address will be the same, right? And the value is what will change. Say, for example, there are two separate assets or four separate assets going to this address. All of those
Okay.
assets will come together into the same value.
Yeah,
So you don't need to send two outputs to the same address.
I think, yeah, I think you could be right. Um, is it possible to craft the transaction though, to where you just explicitly send two outputs to the same address? And like, what would happen there? Is it going to combine those for you into one output? Or if you say that, if you make your transaction with the two
Actually,
things,
yeah, maybe you can like craft like outputs that go to the same address, but you'll have to craft the value and the datum and all of that. Okay, so assuming we can send values to the same address. So again, my point of contention is that you cannot add the values.
so okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What does get all value to return? Because I'm not trying to contend with that statement.
Uh-huh.
I am trying to make sense of what this is returning. Because to me,
Yeah.
this is returning the additional value, right? So that's all I'm trying to figure out right now. Is can we maybe look at the docs again and what is
Yes.
get all value to returning?
Get
Contains the
all value
value
to.
sent to a particular address in a list of outputs, and the type of value. Let's look at that again.
Look at what again?
Yeah, look at value, like what it returns. We're returning a value. Let's look at value.
Value is something like this.
Multi-out a multi-asset output value contains tokens indexed by policy ID and asset name. Important. This type maintains some invariance by construction. In particular, a value will never contain a zero quantity of a particular token.
But the multi-asset output is
Mm-hmm.
important.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, right, the value, one object of value could contain Lovelace of 5 and then NFT of 1. And
Yes.
that is all one value because it's a multi-asset output.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, so what happens if you have that in one output,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have another output with another value,
Mm-hmm.
and both of these outputs are going to the same address. And now we have our function, get all value 2, which returns a single value object with multi-asset outputs in it. So what does that singular value look like at the end? Is there only one part where it's Lovelace and it's the addition? So like if it was 5 and 5, the new one would
So
be
in
10.
general, I have a question for you, Unspent. Can two objects be added?
However right, you could just take the value and then manipulate it and then create a new object. You could do whatever you want, I think. Right, and so that's normally what these functions do. Like that's like it'd be nice if we could see the source code for get all value 2 instead
Yeah,
of
go for it. Go back to that one because it uses the fold R, and I took a peek at it, so you might get some.
No, for Fordle, yeah.
That's the JavaScript reduce, which is going to be adding the things.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
it does
So
use the
go,
Fordle R.
go back to, you had it in another tab. You had it in another tab. You were in another tab. Go to your tab to the, okay.
Like
No, yeah, there you
go. Fordle R dictionary.
Well, no, go. Okay.
Get all value 2 from vodka.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go
get
back to your
all
vodka
value
thing.
2. And where do I
Yeah,
check
and now,
view
yeah,
source?
right there. See how it's.
List, folder output, accumulate value, merge, accumulate. Oh, I think unspent is right? Because it looks like it.
Yeah.
So you
I
can add values together. Okay, I didn't know you could add. Well, you live and you learn. My
This
bad.
is no, I
Listen,
love it.
you're not wrong at all. I think we're just like miss whatever. You're right there. You're just like off to the side a little bit because none of what you said is wrong. Like the value is one object and it's multi-asset, and so what I think is happening is if they are the same type of value, whereas if they're the same policy ID or they're the same Lovelace, then those get combined or added into a singular
value.
function. Yeah. So and again, it's all one value, but there's multi assets within that value. So now we're talking about these multi assets in themselves. So like if you have two outputs, each with ADA in them, it's gonna combine those ADA as the Lovelace part of the value object.
Now I
And
get
if you
it.
had NFTs in your value and those NFTs were the same policy, then when you ran the get all value 2, it's going to put those into one.
Okay,
That's how
I'm just gonna write it here just to like give a small example. Say there is a value here which is constructed. Oh shit, where am I writing this? I'm gonna unfollow for 1 second.
Thank you.
So say for example, policy for ADA is just blank, which would be this, and amount is say 5. Wait this 1 second. And there is another token, say X. So the policy is some X. I'm just going to put X, and amount is 2, right?
Yeah.
And then there is Why is this being weird? I close this, I close. Oh, there's an extra one. Okay. So
Yeah.
there is another one, which is say 10 ADA and policy Y.
Yeah.
Actually,
Okay.
let's do policy X also, one policy
No,
X.
no. Do Y to show the
And
difference.
no,
'cause you're
I'll do
gonna-
another Y as well.
Okay.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. So I'll do policy is Y and amount is 1. So when you are adding both these values, the final value will be like this, which is I'll have all these guys.
You'll have, yep, every type. Every
But
policy.
it'll be the sum of, say, for example, ADA is first one, ADA is 5, and the second one, ADA is 10. So this will be 15 ADA. And here there'll be X is how many? 5X and 2X. So this will be 7. And policy of Y will be 1 because there's only
Yep.
one. So this is what the final addition of values would look like, correct?
Yeah, just remove the 115 just for
Yeah.
accuracy.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, that's it. That's how I understand it. That's that function of get all value to. And really what it's important to note, that's using the folder, because all of the vodka functions are just helpers that use the Aiken library. And what's really happening is the folder, or however you guys pronounce that, right? But that is that way to kind of map over and build an object.